Good morning, Eagles, and welcome back to the Talon Weekly. I'm your host, Riley Robertson.
And I'm your co-host, Tessa Cheshire. Let's take a look at the weather with David Hale.
Welcome back to Thunder and Hail. I'm your host, David Hale. Let's go look at the weather. So there it is. This week we had some unexpected snowstorms that came in and brought a light coat of snow that melted pretty quickly. But today's forecast is a bit different from yesterday's. We have highs in the 50s. We have 7% chance of precipitation, partly cloudy skies. Winds are west at 15 to 25 miles per hour, and winds could occasionally get over 40 miles per hour. And tonight will be a little cooler with 24-degree Fahrenheit temperatures, mostly clear sky, and winds going north from 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now looking at our weekly forecast, looks like things are going to be pretty cool, with temperatures being in the mid to high 40s and the lows to being around the low 20s, mid 20s, kind of in that category. It's going to be mostly clear, but partly cloudy on some days, especially on Saturday, Monday, and Thursday of next week. We're going to see a chance of precipitation later on this week, but I think Thursday was where the majority of precipitation was predicted. And we'll be back next week to see if we get any more unexpected snow showers.
Thanks, David. First up, we wanted to remind everyone that BSU is hosting their weekly meetings every Thursday at lunch.
BSU's meetings typically include education and discussion about important topics in the Black community.
Their Google Meet code is EHS_BSU, and their Instagram is @ElDoradoBSU. Everyone is welcome.
Next, we have senior Cece Barella, who's recently committed to further her basketball career at Maine Maritime University next fall.
The girls' basketball coach had messaged me during quarantine, like the first couple of quarantine when school shut down. And we just had kept in contact for a long time. We talked like almost every week. So the relationship grew, and then I ended up committing there to play basketball.
Cece's very excited for the next step toward her future.
I'm super excited, obviously just to get the college experience. Everybody is excited to go to college. To be able to be so far away, I think that's an exciting thing. Different experiences, meet different people, see a different part of the country. And then obviously go to school and be able to graduate from Maine Maritime, and I'm planning on coming back to UNM for medical school.
Wednesday night, several clubs on campus, including Eagle Advocators, Peer-to-Peer, Gay Straight Alliance, Breaking the Silence, and Eldorado's Therapists, hosted a virtual mental health wellness fair.
Last week, Model UN had their first virtual state conference.
Last year and the year before that were the 2 years that we actually went to Santa Fe. Pretty much just like a simulation of, real world events and things that they would actually talk about at the real UN. So basically it's just kind of diplomacy and learning to take on the role of your country and, trying to make resolutions. This year, a big thing was like kind of communication. And, it didn't really feel like the group had a strong sense of community. Everyone's welcome. There's no big commitments. And actually the springtime is a really good time to join because it's not like there's a huge state conference or anything until next year. So it's kind of a good way to hit the ground running, but not get thrown into the fire.
This was a big adjustment for many members of Model UN, as the conference is typically held at the Capitol building in Santa Fe.
Conference is more about cooperation, and like everybody represents their own country. It's more about countries working together to kind of find common interests and work together to solve problems. It would definitely have been better in person. The more there's like little nuances to it in person that make it a lot better. It went pretty well. There's always the challenges that come with having something online like that. But everything considered, we got a lot done, had a lot of fun. So I would say that it went pretty well, yeah. It's not as chaotic as in person, so you can be a little more organized, I'd say. Online stuff is a struggle. I'm in a lot of clubs, including Model UN, and it's definitely been difficult to adjust to it. But just try and find the positives in it.
Here's a bit about senior Abby Jovic, who is a talented figure skater.
My older sister's friend was having a birthday party there, so we all went and just skated on a public session, and I was like, oh, I want to do this. So then I started taking learn to skate classes, and then I think a year later I started doing private lessons and really getting into it. But just the feeling of just accomplishing something that you've worked on for so long is really good. My goal would be to pass my gold free skate test, which means that I would be a double gold medalist. So then like that's kind of your credentials for coaching and all that. And that's what I want to do in the far future. I want to be a coach. So it's really cool and it's really different because you get to express yourself through like performing, but then you also have that like training aspect that I really like, and like working hard, and then obviously you get to compete. So like I don't think I have woken up in like 5 years without any like aches or pains or soreness.
The pandemic has greatly impacted Abby's ability to skate regularly, but she's managed to find a way to keep up with the activity.
The rink that I usually skate at, like right next to my house on Tramway, closed down for like 5 months at the beginning of, or we couldn't skate for like 5 months in the beginning of the pandemic, but then we got to skate over in Rio Rancho. So basically just where we train, because it's not like you have ice everywhere. There's only 2 rinks in New Mexico.
This semester has been challenging for all of us. With finals coming up next week, teachers are preparing just as much as students are, and some teachers are going with a more traditional approach.
So I'm going to keep my final pretty simple, right? Traditional. So it's just going to be multiple choice, covering material from the beginning of the semester up until where we finish in December. So maybe 50 to 100 questions, multiple choice. I just want to keep it as simple and traditional as I can for all my students. It's pretty convenient. It's what, most students are used to. It's what I'm used to, but, I just want to keep it as easy as possible for my students, which is why I want to keep it to a multiple choice test for both economics and world history. So, I know my students, a lot of my students are overwhelmed. So, I'm working with them to, make this as easy as possible. I'm letting them have a cheat sheet for the final just to help them out. Just so they don't have to stress too much about it, because they've done a great job up to this point. So I want to make it as easy as possible for them.
Others are conducting their finals differently, just as they've had to make adjustments throughout the semester.
Mostly my finals are structured in a project presentation style. And I know how hard the screen time can be. So I scheduled small groups of students to come in on certain days with a set time to do their presentation, so that we could have some small group conversations and a little less pressure also, because I know that students get really nervous talking on the camera right now. So students are coming in at a set time, presenting a project. Sometimes it's tied to research. Sometimes it's a culmination of our studies for that semester. But there's always an element of student choice. The staggering component, I definitely chose to do because we're online. I've never done that before. I've often had a project or group or presentation component to final exams before, but the way that I scheduled them and rolled them out these 2 weeks, that has been based on the virtual learning. I think the biggest struggle for me has been that we simply just can't do as much. And so I've had to really cut back on the things that we're doing, the number of activities I do in a class period. So I've liked having the connection of being able to be in small groups in this setting and have more flexibility with our time. I think the most important thing is to set short-term goals for yourself. I have found that if I look at my to-do list and think that I should just work through it until I can't work anymore, that's really stressful and really hard on me mentally, physically, emotionally, to sit for that long. So I found that the best thing I can do for myself is set really specific daily goals that I think I can achieve each day, and break down my massive to-do list into smaller goals. And then once I hit that, be like, okay, I'm good for today, and that's all right. And I don't have to work ahead, because the screen time is so draining on us. And I think that has been better for me.
Here's Mrs. Meyer with a friendly reminder for all of us about staying safe.
Hi Eagles, Miss Meyer here. I was asked to do a quick hand washing demo for you all to show you how to be clean and safe, especially nowadays, right? The technique I have for you, it meets all CDC guidelines. In fact, you go 10 seconds more than the 20 seconds required, and you don't look like a crazy person singing happy birthday or the ABCs at the top of your lungs, okay? So let's get started. So right here, have the sink going. All right, so I have an acronym that I teach my students, and it says, basically the acronym is please be clean for the world. Now, if you can remember that, you'll remember all the parts of your hands that need to be washed, okay? So please be clean for the world. Please stands for the P in please stands for your palms. The B in the word B stands for the backs of your hands. Clean I took some liberties here, but it stands for claws or your fingernails. Okay, please be clean. Do your claws. 4 is your fingers. Please be clean 4. And then the word the T stands for your thumbs. And then the W, world, stands for wrists. Okay, so if you keep that in mind, please be clean for the world, you'll hit all the parts of your hands. Okay? All right, so let's get started. First step is to turn your water on. You want it nice and warm, kind of a little hot. You just don't want cold water. Cold water doesn't do anything. We're going to get our hands totally wet. And then we're going to apply our soap. And then we're going to scrub out. Don't go under the water, okay? So we're going to scrub. If you do 3 seconds on all the parts of your hands, you'll hit 30 seconds. So we're going to start with please, right? Palms. So please. B is the backs. Clean was your claws, remember? Please be clean. 4 is for your fingers. The was your thumbs. And W was your wrists, right? So please be clean for the world, okay? And then that hits 30 seconds and you're going to want to rinse very well. Get all that soap off. Okay. And then you're going to dry them off with a paper towel. And using that paper towel, you're going to shut off the water. All right. That way you don't recontaminate your hands with the dirty faucet. And then you throw the towel away, you throw the germs away. And there you go. Nice, clean hands. You stay healthy and you're being clean for the world, right? Hope everybody has a great break. Keep washing your hands, stay healthy, and I miss you all.
Finally, here's our fun fact of the day with Maggie Rodriguez.
Did you know that a group of penguins on land is called a waddle, while a group of penguins in the water is called a raft?
Thanks, Maggie.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at EHS Talon Weekly.
Thanks again for watching, Eagles. Good luck on finals week, and remember to take care of yourselves. Have a happy Friday, and we'll see you next semester.